So good evening, good afternoon. Let me try to place this properly. So maybe this will be fine. So we are going to have a different sort of like a chat this evening, and it's going to be myself interacting with you, the audience. So do me that favor as you are joining, like the broadcast, share it, okay? And I will be reading comments, so I'll be interacting with you. But the writer for the chart is what happened in Woro, there in Kwara State, Kiyama local government area of Kwara State, where 162 people have been reportedly killed by terrorists, Fulani terrorists. And how did that happen and all that? So I will be reading your comments in that regard. So help me share it. Father Onsibaba, Olashupo, thank you. Okay. And maybe I should start with welcoming those of you who have already joined. Okay. With what happened in Kwara State today, I want to read your own reactions to these latest developments. Fair enough, a lot of media houses are currently talking about it. Okay. So, yeah, thank you very much. Sir Olashupo. So we have there Emmanuel Osi. Thank you for joining. So who is there again? Word of God Outreach. Thank you. So remember, share it. YouTube recommended that I should be having this like regularly, having this interactive session with enough engagement and all that, since we are still battling with the algorithm craze. All right. So the news, in case if you have not if you haven't heard about the news, it's actually a very terrible one. Okay, so there is a community called Woro community in Kwara State. So here is the report on it. I'll read it to you, and this is from the Guardian. Okay, so it is said that more than 160 people were killed by terrorists today in two villages. It said this happened in two villages of western Nigeria, that is Yoruba land. And they said this was done by the country's deadliest it's kind of seen as Nigeria's deadliest attack in 2026. It is reported in Kwara State, Yoruba land. Some are saying that it is a Christian community in Kwara. But here is the report. They said, and it's perpetrated by the jihadists. That's how they described it, but the Fulani terrorists. They said, as communities reeled from repeated and widespread acts of violence perpetrated by jihadists and other armed groups. So the death toll from Tuesday's attack in Woro and Nuku in Kwara State stood at 162 on Wednesday this afternoon, according to Muhammad Omar Bio, a member of parliament representing the area. Right? This is the Guardian now. So according to them, they said the Fulani terrorists that invaded these two communities, Woro and Nuku, two villages, when they attacked, they rounded the people up. They tied their hands to their backs, right? And then they put them on the road and executed them. Just so you understand that it is a different modus operandi this time. Usually the Fulani terrorists will go into communities they want to attack, mostly in the middle of the night, and they will start shooting indiscriminately, targeting buildings and setting them on fire, ablaze. In the process, the people will be running here and there to safety, and most of the time, those who will be unlucky will get caught in the crossfire. But these killings that took place in Kwara State from yesterday to today, is a different one. They rounded people up and then executed them. And the report actually said that for the people in Yoruba land, Western Nigeria, it simply means the terrorism is closer to home than anybody would possibly admit. Sorry, one sec. I think I've sorted that. So yeah, we'll be part of the chat this evening. As you are joining, I remember, like I said, I'm going to be reading your reactions, your questions, and all of that, okay, as part of the way this is expected to go, okay? So, Lebabs, welcome. Adekunle Okundayo, right? Thanks for also chipping in. And this kind of like a scary stuff, so to say. Yesterday in Katsina or thereabouts, the people were celebrating the return of one of the Fulani terrorist leaders. They call him bandit leader. And guess what? The reason why they were happy was because they thought he was dead, because he was kidnapped by Bello Turuji's group. They kidnapped another bandit leader, terrorist leader. And in the process, he paid his way, he paid ransom to Turuji. So Turuji seems to be like number one in that part. So when that guy returned, the communities where he used to operate, they were so happy to receive him. It's in the news, you know? So they said that the gunmen had rounded up residents, bound their hands behind their backs, and killed them. The attackers also touched homes and shops. So in quotes, right, they said, as I'm speaking to you now, I'm in the village along with military personnel, sorting dead bodies and combing the surrounding areas for more. That's what that lawmaker told the Reuters. So thank you for joining the Temple of Truth. And indeed, like I said, I'll be reading your comments and I'll be reading some of them out, and I'll be reacting to it as well. That is what the chat is always about, okay? So you have the chance to ask questions. I mean, my opinion, which is going to be my opinion, by the way, all right? And it doesn't really kind of like means it's, final or total. Some are saying that the number of the victims in this attack, that they are more than 162. People are saying that they're actually over 170. What is the motivation? What would the terrorists say they are actually looking for? What would be their crime? And how vulnerable are some of these communities that are already falling, into the traps of these incessant attacks? These are questions that if you have somebody from government and you have a chance of asking them questions, these are, salient questions that somebody should be given answers to, Iruk, I mean, I don't think it is still convenient to keep pointing fingers at Bokwari and what they did. Remember that when Bokwari was there, it was convenient, especially for non-northerners, okay, to believe in Bokwari's kind of like collusion by protecting these terrorists and all that. It was convenient for Southerners or even Middle Beltons, simply because Bokwari's government would rather, placate these guys than to wield the big stick of the law. So So that sentiment was there. But Buhari left power 2.5 years ago, nearly 3 years ago. He is even dead officially now. So here we are, a non-northerner, a southerner, is the president and commander-in-chief of the armed forces of Nigeria. So whatever damages that Buhari did, can we somehow agree that they've actually complicated it? Because you can't see the difference that, oh, it is dwindling, like it is reducing. Excuse me. Sorry about that. So it is no longer convenient to blame what is going on in Nigeria on what Buhari did and didn't do, if we are not seeing any reversal, of such decisions. In fact, if we have to be honest, Tinubu has done more than what Buhari did to protect the interests of this murderous group. Buhari wanted Ruga. He gave money to governors to go and provide lands. But, throughout Buhari's time, not many of these governors were able to provide lands for Ruga in their states. But do you know something today? Tinubu's government has committed over 150 billion naira, which is public, to what they call the livestock development. Tinubu has gone as far as creating Ministry of Livestock because of this issue, which means he has created a minister for them and a whole ministry for them. Buhari didn't do that. None of this has reversed the killings. None of this has reversed the attacks. Rather, they keep getting worse and worse and worse. Do you know why? That is why I said we can't continue to point to what Buhari did. We should be looking at what Tinubu is not doing. It's no longer convenient, yeah? And now that the whole thing is more like coming the down south in that axis, right? Yes, I wanted to get to that part. Thank you, Moses Abiodun. It is true. American soldiers from the African Command, that American base in that Ghana, Gulf of Guinea, and some of these countries where so there is a command center called AFRICOM. So they are the ones who carried out reconnaissance strikes against the Lakurawa ISWAP terrorists on the 26th of December, Boxing Day. Remember, so it wasn't like they sent them from America. There are American soldiers, Marines and all kinds, who are already based in Africa. So their command in that part of Africa called the AFRICOM have been the ones who have been coordinating the surveillance, the strikes, and all that. And it is true. Yesterday, a contingent of them arrived Nigeria, officially, by the way. So this last few weeks, and I need to also tell you this. Thank you for asking, by the way, or kind of like putting it out as well, right? So when Ribadu went to Washington in October and through November, part of their agreement at the time, especially because of the Christian genocide, narrative in the Middle Belt part of Nigeria. So there were several options on the table that they believe would take Nigeria out of that country of particular concern, CPC. So part of the conditions were, one, and I'm going to try to list them offhand right now, okay? So it may not be in that order, okay? But conditions. So the first one was that the people condemned to death by Sharia courts in Nigeria and upheld by the Supreme Court must be released unconditionally. So that was where that Sunday was released. It's part of the conditions. The second part is that spread of that Sharia thought and all of that should also be jettisoned. That one is in the pipeline. The third options, not like options, I'm going to say like solutions on the table, things that will have to be addressed. So the third one, like I said, not in that order. So the third one is that the people of Middle Belt and Christians in northern part of Nigeria will receive a special US and Nigeria arranged security protection, which is different from the regular protection that all of us have. In that access, so Nigeria will receive American weapons and all that, including, parts, trainings, and even building some of the facilities to make sure that this arrangement is sustained. Do you get me now? So it's also part of the arrangement to say, what is that special protection that will be given to these endangered Christians in the Middle Belt and northern part of Nigeria against the irregular killers and attackers, the Fulani terrorists especially, and also to cut down the spread of the ISWAP, Boko Haram, and all of that stuff, the activities in the northern Borno, as well as Lake Chad and others. But most importantly, a special operation, a special protection, or a special security arrangement in the Middle Belt part of Nigeria. That too hasn't been like finalized or made public what that truly means, okay? But they are already public information, okay, where we have had several visits, exchanges between the American government officials and Nigerian government officials, meeting in Nigeria, in the US in the last 3 months. And all of these are public information, okay? So the part where would Donald Trump send the American soldiers to Nigeria as one of the most fearsome part of the narrative at the time, when Trump said he would come in and do the airstrike, gun blazing. So the gun blazing in that narrative that they tried so much to twist was that the terrorists in Nigeria, the ISWAP, will make America come for them. They are not coming for Muslims. They are not coming for Christians. They are not coming for the North. They are not coming for the South. But the message was meant to be for the terrorists directly, that they will send military, American Marines or whatever after them. But that led to different kind of reactions. Oh, the gun blazing and all that. But behind the scene, Nigeria government kept trying to satisfy the Americans' delegations, so that they want to prove to America that their impression that Nigerian government is shielding the terrorists intentionally decided not to actually protect Nigerians. So in order not to give that impression to Americans, so they were just playing along in that sense, behind the scene. So all those visits to Nigeria, they're not just visits. So yesterday, Nigerian government confirmed, it was AFRICOM who first made the announcement that whatever arrangement they are with Nigeria, it has gotten to the stage of sending soldiers. The African-based commander or African-based American soldiers now shipped the number. They didn't tell us the number. Where they are being sent to, they didn't tell us. But it is true. There are now boots on ground in Nigeria. And it's official. It is not news. But if you are hearing it for the first time, well, good enough. You have heard it as well. But it's kind of public today. Sorry if I have missed your comments. I'll try and read some of them, and I will react accordingly, okay? So let's do this. Let me scroll. Thank you. Brilliant. So it is generally believed that Tinubu might have found a way to play a dual game. And here is my own understanding. Again, this is just my view, based on the publicly available information. Sure you get. To go after the terrorists as they want to make the public believe, is going to hurt those who are protecting or funding these terrorists in Nigeria. It is going to upset their base. The base that Tinubu is very much relying on for political leverage. He wouldn't want to hurt them by wielding the full power of the Nigerian military genuinely to go after these terrorists and even their sponsor. So that may be a political suicide, but Nigerians are like the collateral in that arrangement. So when America showed interest and then sort of like escalate it, that puts Nigeria in the mix, Tinubu's government, as being in bed with the terrorists by not doing anything. And the reason why he can't do anything is because he wouldn't want to upset the base of those religious supporters and all that who are protecting the interest of these terrorists. Because it is believed that if you attack them or you come for them, it is an indirect attack on the northern Nigeria. Unfortunately, this is just the belief of these supposed powerful, influential, religious, political figures in that battle. So he doesn't want to upset them. Therefore, the Nigerian military then look like very weak, disorganized, overwhelmed, simply because of lack of political will. But now that America is talking about it, it won't be something they want to quickly just go and say, we need to prove to America that we have the capacity. Because in that sense, they will still have to do what they refuse to do for political leverage, which is to use that might and power and go after the terrorists. So what did they do? Tinubu's regime came back to defend the Nigeria position against the American narrative by saying there is no Christian genocide, there is no Christian genocide, which suited the narrative of these religious fanatics that have been sabotaging the fight against terrorism in Nigeria. So that Nigeria continued to spend money to convince America openly that no, there's no this, that narrative is wrong, our people are united, all those things, right? The religious fanatics were pretty much like, okay, that's good. It simply means they are not afraid of America. But behind the scene, they went to America and pleaded with them and said, you know what? It is true, but maybe not in that sense. But we can't do this, we can't do that. We have the intels, we know where these terrorists are. To be honest, we actually understand these whole places. But the reason why we can't do this and that is because of this or that. So if America can take the backlash by coming forward as the savior, sure you get, and they'll be seen as the ones who are going after the terrorists, and the superior powerful America cannot be stopped by Nigeria. So to blame Tinubu that time by the fanatics and all of that will not be as damaging as for the Nigerian government or Nigerian military to do their real job. That's my theory. You get what I mean now? Because whatever they are posturing in the public, behind the scene, they agree with America on so many things. Agreeing to bring in soldiers, the American soldiers, and many other things that will keep coming to public. And at the end of the day, right, it may just give Tinubu probably some mileage until he gets his second term. Do you get that now? At that point, it will now be, is he really interested in ending the terrorism, the insecurity? This time around that he's got nothing to lose. He would damn the consequences of the, of the North. And since America is already so involved, it will just kind of like work with them to end the whole terrorism, or still for political leverage. Once Tinubu gets second term, it can cut off the Americans by using whatever means they can to make sure that they don't ruin the relationship they view. So America can go to hell and not, sure you get, they will no longer probably do anything that much per se. So these two possibilities are waited to be seen. My theory. So don't let us forget the killings in Woro and Nuku in Kwara State. People said that the number of people killed is actually more than 162. Some are saying that, well, if it is based on the bodies they have already recovered, that is in itself is over 170 bodies. And it is believed that there could be more. So the military are there now. Operation of a terrorist that lasted for more than 12 hours because they had to attack two villages simultaneously, right? They had all the time to march out the people they captured, tied their hands to their back, and then, like normally, they lined them up and executed them. They took some others away. So people are currently not even sure how many people are missing in Kwara. And Kwara is Yoruba land. You need to know that. Not by Nigerians' designation, though. Kwara is North Central. Yeah. And just a few days ago, the same terrorists, they struck in Niger State. And it's reported that they killed over 100 people there too. Yesterday, in Katsina State, these terrorists in Faskari local government area, they slaughtered 24 people, kidnapped others that the number is presently unknown. And this keep happening and happening and happening, you know? Yeah, Pulapenga, that's my man. Thank you. Peace be upon you too. Olumide Akinwumi, Saulu. I mean, it's more or less like a country being ruled by crazy people. That is why they are saying that the lunatics have taken over the asylum. Mental asylum is where you keep people that can't function optimally because of mental health until they are healed and certified, recovered. You don't put them in control of anything. But in the situation of Nigeria, you can liken it to an asylum, mental asylum, where the the lunatics have taken over the asylum. So they are now the ones making rules, laws, executing them, and telling what is right or wrong, even if their law says otherwise. It's crazy, yeah? See that. Word of God outreach. But what happened to our own, our own people as Yorubas? We used to be very vocal. I mean, let's be honest. Imagine if today the president of Nigeria is Atiku, and this is happening. The fact that a Yoruba man contested and lost, if you put it that way, and another northerner is in charge, and this is happening, do you think Yorubas are going to keep quiet or be giving excuses for government, Atiku's government? Or imagine that Tinubu is not president and Peter Obi is the president, an Igbo man, in the election that a Yoruba man contested and lost. Yeah? And then this is happening. Do you really think Yorubas are going to keep quiet? Do you think some of the Omoluabis are going to be giving excuses for Obi or Atiku that it's not their fault? It is because Buhari brought terrorists to Nigeria. It was because APC did this and that. Do you really think anyone like that in Yoruba land will be bold enough to go on TV and tell Yorubas that they should not react in that sense? Do you really think the likes of Tinubu in opposition, okay, will be comfortable enough to convince you as Yorubas that Atiku is doing his best or Peter Obi is doing his best, the blah, and this keeps happening? Churches being attacked, people traveling the interstate and others are being kidnapped by terrorists who are demanding tens of millions. Do you think? Well, I don't think so. I don't think we will keep quiet. I mean, come on. Why do you think Yoruba Nation advocacy in from 2017, 2018, why do you think it's kind of like skyrocketed in 2020, 2021? It was simply because a lot of them were able to believe that the reason why all these things were happening, or people are being kidnapped or killed on their farms and all of, is simply because a Fulani man is in power. If it wasn't for a Fulani, because nobody experienced all of these things before APC took power in Nigeria. Not like this. Here you get. So it was so shocking, and people were so in shock that what they are being made to get used to shows government collusion. Because why would these things get this worse if government is not probably like involved, right? And then here we are. A Yoruba man is the president of Nigeria. And the ideal thing is to also make sure that they take responsibility. But rather, they want us to keep quiet. They want us to be like the Fulanis. They want us to be like the Northerners, the Hausas. They never come out to condemn Buhari. Why is it that now only the Yorubas, they do too know? Now only we, the Yorubas, we are always condemning our own. They are killing our people. Somebody is there now. It's not going to be there forever. Who are you going to then blame? Like you keep quiet like the Northerners, who, because of Jonathan's ethnicity and religion, Northerners were able to be convinced that Jonathan don't give a damn about them when Boko Haram was killing them. And some of them bought it. They hated Jonathan passionately because APC told them, how could a president of a country be organizing parties, going to campaigns when people are being killed? Then APC took power. Not only that, you have Boko Haram, you now have ISWAP, you have a Lakurawa, you have a Fulani terrorist. You have all these kind of 22 different terrorist groups operating in northern Nigeria just between the time APC took power and now. That is it, which means they have killed more northerners than before APC, Egbekegbe, took power. They have displaced more people. APC was campaigning in 2015 that how could 2.5 million people be living in IDP camps in Nigeria? And people were wondering too, like, well, how could Nigeria get so bad that 2.5 million people were living in refugee camps in Nigeria? This government has failed Nigerians. Today, 10 years after, over 20 million Nigerians are now living in refugee camps. More, hundreds, if not thousands of communities, villages have been destroyed. People have run away for their lives, never to go back to their lands again in the last 10 years. You get? So APC destroyed even more. But somehow, we have a Yoruba man. And again, the killings continues. The kidnapping continues. So who are we then? Now we are to keep quiet. We have to. We are not expected to openly say this as Yorubas. And we're like, what if you become victim? What if your family member become victims? What about your community? What if all these communities that have become desolate, where people have been chased away, some of them have become like war-torn area where it was like war happened and people migrated never to come back. What if those communities, one of them is yours? Your heritage, your histories, everything, your ancestors, all those, like you just have to go to safety because some member of your family, extended family, have been caught up in the whole killings that nobody can explain what they have done wrong. Right? Would you still keep quiet because you don't want somebody to look bad? Is it not bad enough? Eh? Is it not bad enough? So let me go read the comment because it's meant to be interactive this way, okay? So yeah, what do you say? Amos, Lutas. Nigeria can't defend its own citizens but wants to act like a big boy in Benin or against Nigeria Republic. You get some things, if they explain them to you, you will never get it, you will never understand it. Right, so the one who is talking about it, and now, I mean, the only thing that thrives in Nigeria right now, especially in the public discourse, it is not even just political. It is sort of like hatred disguised as tribal or ethnic loyalty. You can't say that about my tribe. I will have to say something about yours too. Oh, what do you mean? What you just said right now is because you don't like my tribe. Oh, what do you mean? That is it because I'm not from your tribe? So it's tribal this, tribal that, ethnic this. It's crazy. That's how much the mind control that politicians can use social, what do you call it? Is it called social conditioning in a way to put in the people's heads? They can't have proper conversation without their prejudices, their biases, mostly covering their own views of things. So it's a tough one. There are those who are very good at it that they can have this decent conversation, okay? Even though they have their own differences. But you can see far from the lens or the lenses of your tribe or your ethnic and all that, because if you come to think of it, the traces to all of this comes from the political discourse, which is very, very much toxic, especially in the last 10 years of Nigeria. So there are those who believe that the reason why these other people don't like Tinubu is because he's a Yoruba man. That narrative is political. Because if I am an Igbo man and I dedicate my time to open this kind of like a government activities and all that the way I do, right? And I'm talking about a Yoruba man, I am probably not going to be seen from that neutral or a Nigerian angle. Others who are like, because I'm not a Yoruba, right? So others will be like, he's saying that because your people don't like my people. So if you are talking about poor leadership, corruption, and all this stuff, the failure of government generally, and how it affects everybody. So politicians have made it look more like, don't listen to them. They will be laughing with their own people, but they will be criticizing other people's leaders. But the point here is, if you are also saying the same thing back to them, oh, don't listen to them. They always, you know what I mean? They always defend their own corrupt people. But all of you have your corrupt people from every tribe and in this political space who have hurt all of us. The people that actually hurt you more are your own people. If you are an Igbo man, the people who have hurt you more and your interests, they are your Igbo politicians, Igbo elite who have collaborated enough to make that happen. If you are from Yoruba land and you also feel the same, the people who have put you in that situation are no other than your own Yoruba political elites and what you call them, leaders, who have used you as their own meal ticket in the project Nigeria. So in that regard, you pointing at yourselves based on the toxic political space that they have created, in that sense, denies you, right, the opportunity to agree on on the consequences of their poor leadership, economy, healthcare, education, security, national cohesion, end of corruption. I'm just listing all these things out, things that have pervaded the country in a very wrong way, things that they have actually really destroyed that affect millions of lives. Whether you are Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa, Fulani, it doesn't matter. Everybody gets his own share. But because we are busy with, we know all these people, they don't like Yoruba. All these people, they hate Igbos. All these people, and these are people who have no direct bearing on what majority of us are facing, So somebody's asking me, what do I think? Let me see your comment. I don't. Okay. D1. I don't even like Tinubu myself. A lot of people don't. And I have had this conversation before, that some of the people who ended up defending the interest of Yoruba, because they couldn't take all the bullshit, all the stuff people are putting online. In the end, they ended up calling the bluff of anybody who called them Tinubu supporter, if that's how you see it. But meanwhile, in the long run, the creation of these tribal narratives, right? The political people who created this narrative to keep you divided, they are okay with it. Because one thing is this: you have one way or the other connected to them because they are Yorubas, even though they don't have interest of Yoruba at heart. They are Yorubas. Whatever insult or whatever they brought upon the Yorubas, you as a Yoruba person, you're not going to take it. You don't care about Tinubu or anybody, but you are not just going to sit there for some people to be writing nonsense in that regard, which is what we call Yorubas. We are not omololelo gbesiwa. Sure, you get. They beat you. I'm sorry, they beat your mama. They beat your papa. All right. And then you said your end or the day you want to die hasn't come. Like, it simply means that it has come, but you just dodged it. It's a Yoruba saying, one no yeah, one no bye. Olojo ku o ti pe, ibo lo yan ku si other than that place. Right? So every Yoruba will feel like that. But if you are politically conscious, right, not contributing to such conversation, because if you're politically conscious, you realize that even if you don't like the people who brought that kind of conversation about, I mean, the people who are supposed to represent the Yorubas, but they are messing the whole thing up, right? Even if you're not supporting them, right, you end up defending the same political interest, tribal interest that is laced with the political interest psychologically put out there, psyop, they call it. And that is why I see most of these exchanges. And for those who believe that it doesn't matter, I'm not going to look around, I will say all the horrible things about them too. If they say this about my people, I'll say this about them too. And I just move on, because I believe that at a point, everybody will get over it. Okay? Everyone will get over it. And if this is our reality, it simply means at a point, we are also going to agree that maybe we should all go our separate ways. When I say that, I mean it. I mean, it'll get to a point where everybody will be like, let's stop deceiving ourselves. Okay, let's do something different. Or I won't sit and be reacting to it simply because somebody that I don't know what he or she is passing through, wherever he or she is putting out their own supposedly frustration out there. I'm not going to amplify it. And that's why I'm like the intermediary, to let you see what you are engaging in, so that you realize if you are being politically conditioned to promote a narrative, an agenda that would never actually really solve any of your own supposed important interest as a collective, but rather the interest of some certain group of people who have been leveraging on it like forever. you know. So, Ruben, Maiyegun, do you think America don't know who Ribadu is, but let's just wait and see where this is going? Well, I wouldn't say they don't, because what most of them have is called compromise. Just like America knows who Tinubu is, his friends, and what is going on in Nigeria, including some of the monies that are leaving as well. They do. That's what I want to believe. But the only thing America wants is their own interest. And if you want to understand very well, America developed this theory backed by their own, intel. So they developed this theory that, and this was about 20 years ago. So they said the way the radical Islamic extremists are growing in Nigeria, that at a certain time, if nothing is done, Nigeria will become the breeding ground for the future terrorists that will likely come and attack America, because Nigeria is a very crucial and important partner of America in Africa. So a lot of Nigerians lives in America, and they also commutes between America and Nigeria regularly, millions of Nigerians in that sense. So if Nigeria should become a breeding ground for Islamic fanatics and the rest of them in northern part of Nigeria, it poses a threat to the national security of America. I don't know if you have seen that report yourself, but they had something like that. So in that sense, they started showing, interest in the people, important figures and all of them, like checking their backgrounds here and there, which I believe is probably why some of the names of the terror sponsor, those who have used their positions to protect them or what have you, I believe America have all the details. And I also believe it's also part of what Tinubu and his government probably were doing with America, but there's probably a lot, or still much more for us to look out or to look forward to. So, but I'm not going to make I'm not going to make any speculation on that. But yeah. Thank you. Guns Revolution. Do you know that I have an idea how and why the channel can become the template where people with a free mind, free ideas, are comfortable to, sit and discuss? I have an idea. I have done this for 10 years, and I'm thinking it is getting to that time where we will likely, or I would likely take the message to Nigeria, put it that way, and at the same time get some level of closer or close shot of the real happenings in the real time, as well as the real witnesses in that kind of like series across some certain part of the country in this probably coming future. All right. So I'm thinking of that, because with that, when people begin to familiarize, because I've tried to get us to be more conscious, especially those who have been on this platform for a while, to get us to be more conscious and up to date about what is going on in Nigeria and how much of this can have its own direct or indirect impact on us, no matter where and where you are. But I'm thinking there is more that could be kind of like unravel in that aspect that can make it more real, live thinking right there on the spot. So But let's see what the year have in stock for all of us. So we'll see to that. Ade Williams. For North can be Kabul. Far East can be Japan, right? Yoruba homeland can be real Yoruba people. Bear your papa name. Well, we are all still going to have to relate, trade, even intermarry. But what the idea of confederation means, or regional system in this regard, is that there are some fundamental questions that are meant to be answered. And this can only be answered by the indigenous people of Nigeria. The first one is that would you want to be in the same country, to continue to coexist in the same country as Nigerians? So if the people says yes, but what? Under these certain conditions, whereby the indigenous people who have had the history of their own ancestors on the land that they call their own, established, recognized by your law, all these areas would be independence of so, and so under this arrangement. And that's where the regional system comes in. Still means that, okay, Nigeria is still existing, but a different Nigeria that represents truly people who agreed to be Nigerians. Is more respectful, okay? And people don't need to fear you. People don't, and you don't have to fear anyone. What makes country work is respect for the rule of law. Respect for the rule of law. Because you have law, and laws have rules. And our rules simply says that we are all equal before it. If you do this, this will be your punishment. If I do this, this is what will happen. And we all have to stick by that rules to keep an orderly society in that sense. So nobody can suddenly just say they are angry, upset, and they are waging tribal or ethnic war against anybody in any part of Nigeria, because that is going to be the breach of a general statute that combined the supposed nations together to form this union or confederation. So if anybody violates any part of it, it is expected that the rest will come together and neutralize such threats. Respect is better than fear. You know what I mean? So it's not a bad idea. Yeah. That's the problem. People make country. Country doesn't make people. Country you live in is a reflection of the people that lives in it. If people that took over power in 1999, 25 years ago, nearly 26 years ago, right? They took over democratic system of government, and they couldn't write a brand new constitution for the country, a new process, a new beginning, something that have the people's input. They couldn't do that. They were using the same unitary constitution written by decree 24 of the Nigerian military rule. They used that one to draft, a guidebook, right? A guidebook, rather. They used that one and then gave it to millions of people to be operating with. And now, this is the Nigeria the constitution could do. They have been patching it, amending it, instead of them to pull it down and rebuild it, a fresh one with a referendum from every part of the country. Every question of how the unity or whatever it is will be answered in a new constitution. You know what I mean? Fulani terrorists or any of these terrorists will not have the idea that, their forefathers or their ancestors is the owner of this place or that place, or they are the supreme race, they are the supreme tribe or ethnic, this or that, they have the supreme religion. No, there will be nothing like that. But no. D1. If you go back if you go back just to generations, grandparents, and ask your grandparents where they were born, mine will be born in Oyo Empire, not in Nigeria. So true. Just 2 generations ago. I get you. But this is the reality we are in now. We are all being yoked together with our known differences. They have not been able to match them and make us one united people. Share you get? They have failed simply because we never really agreed to form together and become Nigeria. It is through the force of gun. Now, if people who are alive today, especially those ones who are benefiting from the rot, if they have something to be remembered for, it is to put that right. But putting it right means they may lose their own political leverage, something they don't want to. And that's where the problem is. They want to remain in that power. They want to keep kind of like enjoying these privileges and all that. Yeah. But unfortunately, the country itself is, come on, man, look at what they're doing. Yeah. Right. So, Victor, what's your own decision? I think if American military can send their military to occupy TV land, case closed. Again, let us also be kind of like clear. There is no publicly known arrangement that is going to station American soldiers in Nigeria. Sure, you get. I have not read about that. Some said that, they are going to set up American base in Nigeria. I'm not saying it is not possible because I'm not among the decision makers, all right? But there are other things, other factors that makes that a little bit dodgy and not so straightforward to do, right? But sending American soldiers simply means that they are also going to be working with Nigerian soldiers. You get that now? So you are going to be, they are not like mercenaries. They are there to represent a partnership that Nigeria and America possibly, went into. And in that sense, they are likely going to be working together. And they may not even be soldiers who are going to be out there shooting. Their job may probably be to lead and give directive or I'm just saying, because we have no idea how many number of these American soldiers are currently in Nigeria, and they are likely never going to tell us. But there will be some, I expect so, right? There will be some level of changes in some areas compared to what we are used to. Sure, you get. And that may be good in the long run, that we won't even care if they are the ones leading the front or they are, you know what I mean? Like me, I won't anyway, I won't care. No, it is not. IROC. And there are so many reasons for that. Nigeria has been so mismanaged, but Nigeria never used to be like this. Sure, you get. It's unfortunate that what politics and poor leadership could do in a single decade in the life of a country. So America coming to build American base inside Nigeria is not really a good idea for a country like Nigeria that used to send their own troops, single-handedly sending their own troops to bring about peace, where rebels are like taking over countries in West Africa and even beyond Africa, where Nigeria held that kind of reputation. So coming to build American base in Nigeria in that sense is seen as a sign of weakness for a country like Nigeria. But there is a plus side to it, okay? So some said that it helps the country's security, this and that, and response to attacks like terrorism and all that. But in the long run, okay, it just belittle your country. It is like It's like Nigeria going to build a base in Ghana, build military base in South Africa, military base in some of these African countries, and say it is because to protect the national interest, security of Nigeria. Sure, you get, like, Nigeria is not, that's what Nigeria should probably be like. But you know how Africans are going to take it. Other African countries will be like, they will resist it. They'll be like, why would Nigeria come and have their base here? Sure, you get. But we are at the situation where I may not really have a say much, but if you ask me, well, right now, Maiyegun, is it a good idea for America to come and build base in Nigeria? I'm sorry, I'm going to say yes. And you have to let me tell you why. It has shown that the lack of political will to end this terrorism, which the government has shown for years. We have seen how much that has emboldened these terrorists. And in the last 4-5 years, we have been experiencing the inflow of this terrorism, the same modus operandi, in the once upon a time peaceful regions in Nigeria, the southwest, the part of Middle Belt, the southeast, the south-south. These are places where the reported attacks in the last 5 years were not as much as they were the 5 years prior. Do you get me now? So it simply means the longer we think they will figure it out, right? The sooner we are all likely going to die. Because if something that existed in Borno State, northeast of Nigeria, has now spread to northeast, the entire northeast, northwest, north central, southwest, southeast, and even south, as they love to call the Niger Deltans. So any help that can help curb or end it is welcome too. And I understand your argument. America never end any terrorism or anything in the world. Well, you are not totally right too. Do you get me now? The point here is this. To not have America around, and at the same time to have a government that want to convince us or keep trying to convince us that we should not be emotional when we are talking about all these killings. Killings happen all over the world. Or trying to change the narrative in order not to offend some people. That government can protect me, right? But if the existence of America will continue to disrupt their migration, that could be a plus. Or what alternative do you think we have in this situation? 162 people were killed. That's the official figure in Woro and Nuku villages, in Kahama local government area of Kwara State. These were people who were still alive 48 hours ago, but 24 hours ago, they had their villages surrounded. The people rounded up. They tied their hands to their back and executed them in the open, and they left their body, mangled bodies. They left them on the streets for people to come back and look at them, with a warning that they must all never come back to those communities again. If they come back, the killers will come back and kill them again. Now, these two communities will be added to other communities that have become so desolate because people have run away for their lives, the survivors. And now, government is looking like so overwhelmed. So you tell me, do you have alternative? If you are presented that option today, would you still feel like your sovereignty, your pride, your this or that will be in the way as the world around you is changing so fast that some of us can't even describe it. Just saying. Yeah? The free voice divide Nigeria now. We are going to get there. We will. So Collins, Onoha, Buhari first disarmed Nigerians before unleashing the jihadists and terrorists from the Sahel on the people. I mentioned that earlier, but we can't keep saying that again and again and again. But Buhari is dead. He left power, that control, that influence, that power to unleash these terrorists on us by protecting them. He lost it 2.5 years ago. But has it gotten any better? The answer is no. Has it gotten any worse? The answer is yes. So we can't keep kind of pushing that sentiment and say Buhari did this and did that. 2.5 years is quite substantial for something different to have started. I mean, if by now we no longer hear the story of people being killed or kidnapped for ransom in this sense, we will say, but there is improvement too. But go to Edo State, go to Delta, go to even Oyo, go to this Kwara, which is said to be in the north central of Nigeria. This Kwara has been in the news almost every month in the last 6 months alone. And every news that comes from that part on this issue of attacks and killings and all that, every news then took life and lives. And it keeps happening. In Ondo State, you have seen their actions there too, right? It's unfortunate. Collins, thank you. And that is where the responsibility is no longer that of Buhari anymore. It is that of those who are still alive, who have the power. Do you understand? It's only that the political will is what is not there. But they have all it takes. They buy weapons a lot. A lot of Nigeria resources is sort of like budgeted for fight against terrorists. But rather than for the terrorism to end or reduce, it just keeps like, So we can't keep blaming Buhari. Yeah, this is live. And I hope you can probably see it, Charms. So Lady Charm, yeah, it is. I'm almost like rounding up as well. But yeah, it is. So we're having this Maiyegun general live chat. I'll read your comment and I'll react, okay? Oh, thank you, Collins. Thanks for agreeing in that sense, right? Good one. Then I've got Julius. So Buhari started this whole thing by first disarming other tribes in Nigeria and closing borders while borders are opened in the northern part. You are very right. But do you know that Tifnubu still pretty much keep the southern border shut up to this moment? They've announced many times how they are opening the border. They are opening the border. But the situation is still the same. Buhari disarmed Nigerians. Under Tifnubu now, Ribadu is arming Miyetti with AK-47. Nobody has been able to convince Tinubu to allow Amotekun to carry AK-47. Rather, he said he's setting up forest rangers. And the forest rangers, right, were supposed to be set up in each state, which in itself is also partly charade. These forest rangers, would they then be allowed to carry automatic rifles to go and face this, Fulani terrorists that Ribadu said through Miyetti, he gave them AK-47 to protect themselves? That's under Tinubu. Communities are still not being allowed to harm themselves because of a law in Nigeria that says automatic rifles must not be given to civilians. Do you get me now? So even when they set up security bodies by law, like Amotekun, so what other argument do they need to convince Tinubu to allow them to carry automatic rifles and also going to that forest? Who needs to convince him? That's the point I'm trying to make. Like, Bukwari is gone now, okay? And it is not for us to forget all he did and how he did it. But who are we going to hold responsible now? Who should we, other than the person who have the power to actually, It's crazy, isn't it? So, D1, why set up forest guard when the structure is already there in the form of Amotekun? That's what I'm saying. I mean, we are all aware of all of these things, I want to believe, right? The State House of Assemblies in Yoruba land, including Lagos, they all passed laws to set up Amotekun security. And it's a fraction of the state budget is to be dedicated to recruitment, training, arming of this Amotekun Corps. It's not like politicians just woke up and they just announced. No. They did law. They passed laws, including Lagos State. The Lagos State, where you don't see Amotekun or anything, right? Their state assembly passed law that the state should have Amotekun. So did Ondo, Ogun, Oyo, Oshun. So they did as well. So the problem is that as some of these states are also pretty much like lacking in the maintenance or salaries and the rest of that of this Amotekun Corps, right? They are just like local, what you call the neighborhood watch. And if all of us are being honest, Amotekun, right, is born out of the Fulani terrorists invading farms, destroying farms, and killing the locals. That's what gave birth to Amotekun. Amotekun is not neighborhood watch. Amotekun was supposed to be like that, a big cat, the big hunting cat, like leopard, a big one that is hunting and preying on these terrorists and getting them tracked down and host. You know what I mean? That's what Amotekun was all about. It wasn't meant to be this big domestic cat that is roaming about looking for rats, looking for rats in the sewage. No, Amotekun was supposed to be like a laser focused, like laser eyed, sharp teeth, and hunting down terrorists and have all it takes to hunt them down. But Buhari stopped it. Buhari ensured that they were just paper tigers. Yeah? So then you have Tinubu there, who is there for 2.5 years. Buhari said if they gave Amotekun weapons, Yorubas are going to declare Yoruba nation. Did they tell you that? That's one of the ridiculous reasons why Amotekun is not allowed to get automatic weapons. Do you know that? Yeah, they said it would be indirect way of arming Yorubas who can later declare Yoruba nation. Ridiculous take-o. And because of that, they couldn't convince. Now, you have a Yoruba man there. Police IG is Yoruba. Some of the service chiefs, they are Yorubas. Some of the intelligence group like DSS and the rest of them, they are Yorubas. The National Assembly is controlled by the party that a Yoruba man is Kolu. Sure you get. So tell me, when is the best time to actually let Amotekun be Amotekun? But no, they have to play politics with it. They want to do state police. They want to do forest guard. And there is a Amotekun. There is a civil defense too, NSCDCU. But they also have police. There is military. There is DSS. On top, say they won't provide security for us. Playing games, creating more loopholes, more lies, more, But they say the more you look, the less you see. Collins. Yes, you can, but it's sometimes very much like difficult to keep to that arrangement. You know what I mean? But the number is always on the screen. So you can save that and send a message, and I can start communication with you via that one, okay? Collins, try that one. I don't know the number offhand, but the studio number. Right. So, D1, Abi, what do you think about that analogy? Amotekun was supposed to be this sharp, you know, big leopard that is, you know, hunting. I don't even know if leopards hunts. But yeah, that's the Amotekun. Amotekun. Now they can't turn Amotekun to domestic cats. Oh, this big cat is raised domestically. It's got no claws. It's got no this. It can't even hunt. And if these other smaller animals like a fox showed up, Amotekun will have to hide. If not, if all the foxes should grab Amotekun, they may just feast on Amotekun. And that's sad. So when Tinubu is no longer there, who do you think would then have to do it? Who do you think would then, or are we going to be saying, Tinubu wanted to do it, but some people did not allow him? You know, that one is very common among our people. You start hearing things like, you see, let me tell you, that thing no easy. If he tried it, they will kill him. Tinubu wanted to do it. He was determined. Remember that Tinubu moved CBN to Lagos. Do you know that Tinubu moved Lincoln to Lagos? These people wanted to kill him. Remember they planned a coup against him. I'm trying to tell you what people will be telling you in 2032. When these whole things remain the same, the more things changes, the more they remain the same. You will see the supposed elderly Yorubas. They'll be telling you that the reason why Tinubu couldn't do all of that was simply because the Northerners will kill him. The reason why Tinubu couldn't do true federalism was because the Northerners will kill him. The reason why this or that, they will kill him. They will be telling you about that thing no easy like that. He try. You want them to kill him? Do you know how many times they plan coup to remove him? Why are they trying to remove him? Is it because Nigeria is so good and so better and they are angry, so they want to remove him? You get what I mean? So people are still going to use sentiment to make you feel like he is incapacitated. But yet, whatever he wants, whatever he personally wants, that is personally beneficial to himself and all those guys, right? He gets. There is no objection, there is no opposition. But the thing that will actually bring commonness to people and is something that if he tries it, they will kill him. It's not easy like that, Maiyegun. I say, okay, no wahala. You know? Say no wahala. D1. They turned Amotekun to Olongbo. You get that? That's what I'm saying. We shouldn't be talking like this today if what they planned for Amotekun 4 years ago is allowed to come to pass. By now, there will likely be this report of terrorism in Kwara, right? And people who are living in the border town areas in Kwara with other states like Osun or Oyo, they won't have to be living in fear right now because they know that don't cross that border. If you go that side, the kind of weapons in the hand of Amotekun, and they are trained too, with good pay. So terrorists will tell themselves to try somewhere else. And if they get to somewhere else and those ones are also armed, I mean, come on. You know? Exactly. Like, are they going to impeach him? If the Nigerian police, it's not even the one that is going to announce it. The same way he's acting indifferent. Sure you get? It's the same way he's going to be acting indifferent. Now the police IG go announce them. They don't even have to announce it. They will just gazette it and put it in the whole thing, right? And then the state governors in Yoruba land, they will receive it, and every other idea, contingency on how to make that happen, they will do it. So if the media caught up on it and say, Amotekun now carries AK-47, and these guys begin to pressure him, he can confront them and be like, what do you want me to do? Ribadu has already given thousands of AK-47 to Miyetti to defend themselves. So what is wrong if a legally set up, Miyetti is not even legal. There is no law that set up any Miyetti. So is that going to be hard for Tinubu to tell Northerners then and say, Amotekun is a state, it's created by state laws. So what they have right now is to ensure that they have all the needed support from the federal government. So why are you angry? Ribadu has given so number of weapons. Show them that and say, see, this is number of AK-47 Ribadu with my authority, because na Tinubu approve am. Ribadu cannot approve anything to say they should go and start giving guns to Miyetti. Na the Tinubu approve am. Because if Tinubu didn't approve such, and he realizes that Ribadu has been giving guns to Miyetti, do you think Tinubu will not be upset and say, what the hell was that? Why would you do that? So it simply means he approved it. So what is wrong if the one that is established by law, Amotekun, also have access to carry the same? What is wrong with that? So there is no excuse for him. Nobody they give excuse for them. And I can project how people are going to defend him in the next 2-3 years. They are going to tell you about how some invincible people who are so powerful, they are more powerful than him. Tinubu single-handedly, without National Assembly approval, without budgetary appropriation. Sure, you get nothing. Tinubu single-handedly gave over 18 trillion naira road project to his own person, Shaguri. He called it presidential legacy project. There is no appropriation for it. There is no bid for it. There is no National Assembly debate on it. He single-handedly did it. Do you understand what that means? And nothing. They are praising him. So do you know what he can single-handedly do but he won't do? Because politically it's going to hurt him. Not because they will kill him. But because of that, the fate of millions of people remained trapped. And when he has no such power anymore, when they call him former president, people will begin to write books. They begin to tell you how some people want to kill him, how some people wanted him not to develop Nigeria, how he tried to bring electricity, but he failed, how he tried to shekiniko. They will begin to explain to you. They will begin to host meetings all over the place. But the people remain trapped in the same problem that existed before he became your president. After he became your president, the problems remained. And then you'll be wondering, what did they even do for those 8 years? Or for this also years? Use Katsina State as example. And then use Bayelsa State as example. These are 2 states ruled. There are 2 states that produced 2 presidents in the last 13 years of Nigeria history. Katsina and Bayelsa, Jonathan and Buhari. And when you go to Bayelsa today, despite the oil revenue, allocation and the rest, it is still one of the poorest underdeveloped states in Nigeria. Guess how many local government they have? I think 8 local governments in Bayelsa. Bayelsa could be just one single local government. Bayelsa is not, I don't think Bayelsa is big enough to be the size of, a local government in some part of Nigeria. But it's a state so mismanaged, produced president, never to reflect on them. Never. Same thing with Buhari. That one you spent 8 years. Katsina State is now one of the most terrorized states in Nigeria, with so many ungoverned areas. Do you understand? So what are they going to say about Tinubu as well? Are we going to be saying there was a time Ekiti was this, there was a time Ondo was, but by the time Tinubu was done, this is where he left Ondo, this is where they left this. Ondo is now, I'm just using this as an example, not for a bad one, but people are always going to give excuses, which is unfortunate. Anyway, so I have had a 90 minutes live chat, and that is even longer than when we have our regular chats, the last one. So I want to say thank you to everyone. Olowo, okay, let me answer Olowo before I go. Maiyegun, do you think Nigerian politicians goes to bed thinking one day Nigerians might come for them, or they see us as lazy noise making citing the Oshiomhole attitude towards the video in circulation. My observation is very straightforward one. It's going to be a straightforward one. They worry. They do. And that is why, if you pay attention very well, there's barely any Nigerian politician from the rank of local government chairman, status of assembly member, and then to the position of, to the post of House of Reps or Senate, you will barely see any of them who have spent at least 5 years in politics that doesn't really have what they always projected as their second citizenship. I'm not saying all of them, because we have seen some of them who have actually really, they have wrecked the moment they lost access to that public fund, the free money. But when you look at all these guys, they know that one day Nigerians are going to rise against them. They do, they know. And that is why you can tell that whenever something happened in a country, in the last 10 years where you've had national protests, the ones that really shook the country, you've had a lot of them who had to run away from Nigeria, or they went into hiding when things were boiling, really, really boiling. There were few who you could see in the public trying to appeal to the people to calm down. And that's just the sign to let you know that they know. There are some of them who believes that if you come for them, they will kill you. They are buying guns too. There are many of them who plan to leave the country, run away, if anything should go on. And that's why you can tell that they don't believe in the country. When they loot the money from the country, they take it out. They struggle to, or so should I say, they all struggle or compete to buy properties abroad, second home, so that if Nigeria should explode, they will have somewhere to take their families to. They're having all their children schooling abroad like never before. It is more or less like the Nigerian education has collapsed and they don't believe in it anymore. Healthcare, they don't. They are all using different diplomatic visas to go and get healthcare abroad. They're not investing in it per se. So it simply tells you that they do not see future in Nigeria, but they feel lucky that it seems to be taking forever before people will begin to actually come for them. So, but don't ever think they go to bed and they don't think things could explode anytime. They do, they know. And why do you think they are protecting themselves that much? That you will see them in public and you will see all these security guys who are wielding different funny kind of guns. And you will think, are they providing security for a prisoner or a VIP? They say, now a VIP, now one honorable. Oh, now honorable wife. Why are they afraid to walk freely among you? Why are they afraid to walk freely among us? Is it not because they fear something that could trigger anything and they do not want to be caught unaware? So I don't believe they go to bed. Some of them will say, I go to bed, I snore, I sleep. No, they don't. Not in that regard. Yeah? In my own opinion. Yeah? Ade Williams said they use sleeping tablets. I think I'm suspecting you probably have some of them as friends. And yeah, and that could be true, that they always go to bed there with sleeping tablets. Some of them are like mostly on drugs too, different kind of drugs, to get themselves like into the realm that is different from reality. Because yeah, it's crazy, yeah. Biggie Clean Laundry. Thank you, Baba. And do I believe that if Tinubu can be defeated, if there is a fair competition, there are people that will support and vote for Tinubu. Don't let us mistaken. And they are in their millions too. Whether they are paid to, whether they are promised something, whether they, I don't think they are forced to, but there are millions that will ordinarily vote for Tinubu in a free and fair elections. But Tinubu can't win election in a competitive election. I want to say competitive, I mean, let's see who is he running with. You get? But we all know that free and fair election is, the election is only free and fair in Nigeria when they declare you winner. Because Nigeria is a place where they will ask you to first rig first and let the court decide whether your election is valid or not. So that makes it a complicated question. And I think I've answered it anyway. My belief is that in a free and fair elections where people are allowed to choose based on the performance of those who have been in government and those who have been without government, sure you get. So I don't think Tinubu can, because in a free and fair election, Tinubu will have to debate. The media would have to ask him questions. They can't shield him and be hiding him from the public. No. The public will need to see him and see who they are voting for. You understand what I mean? And if Tinubu is allowed to do that, you all know what the answer will be. Like I said, I'm not saying millions will still not. You probably will see maybe about 2, 3, or even 5 million people across Nigeria that will still say, no, they prefer him to that person for other sentiments or other reasons. In a very fair, free and fair election that way, how you want to take do? Do you know what they did to him in Lagos? Labour Party of this obedient movement, they had 1.1 million votes in Lagos, 1.1 million. Tinubu had 151,000. True story. Then they delayed it, and then they, God damn it. So when they now announce the result, even PDP others have said that they've not seen anything like this before. Tinubu was beaten in Ikeja. It was beaten in Bodilon. It was beaten in Alimosho, the biggest local government in Lagos. This is his base. This is the base of his political, what do you call it, survivor. It was beaten there. Then they said, oh, it's 560,000 and 570,000. There are only 10,000 they take beat him. That's not election. You get what I mean? In Abuja, they beat Tinubu in every part of Abuja, including inside Apple Villa, inside Aso Rock, even inside the Aso Rock clinic. The staff there voted against APC. But today is the president. In Rivers State, people were recording over 600 votes, 600,000 votes, 700,000 votes. They were, I was following it, you remember? For this Labour Party, Peter Obi, and then Wike went into action. Igba. They started kidnapping INEC ad hoc staffs, NYSC corp members who were working for INEC. They were beating them. Those ones who were stubborn, who said they were, some of them have even uploaded the results. Why did you upload it? Who told you to upload it? Oh yeah, delete it. Oh yeah, they were all over the place. The videos are out there. So when they finally come to a conclusion, they said, oh, Tinubu scored 230,000, I think. And surprisingly, people in Rivers State were just like, this is so impossible. How Tinubu go beat Obi? How? That kind of thing, Sha. Did he even beat him? I'm confused. What did they record? I remember 230, 150. Who did they give 150? Oh, okay, yeah. Obi won. But they now gave more than 25% to Tinubu by that, I think. So that's not election. Sure, you get me now. So it defeats the purpose of choice elections. But it is Nigeria. So he is the president today. So this is what I am saying to you right now. Somebody will tell you that now your own cup of tea be that. So whether you like it or not, he's the president today. And he says it too. He says, I am the president. I am the president. So I'm the president. That's how he says that. I'm the president. Whether you voted for me or you did not vote for me, whether you supported me or you did not support me, today I asked for the job. I am the president. He loves reminding himself that I am the president of Nigeria. Say yes. Then do the job of a president. Just do the job. You know? Charm. Anyway, thank you everyone, okay? Please, like the broadcast as much as you can. And let's hope that one day, sooner or later, we are going to be off this hold that YouTube algorithm keeps digging us into. And more people would hear the sermon. Enjoy the rest of your own evening. And I'll see you another time. Japengo Broko. Good night,